Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Starladder American preliminary qualifiers are continuing on here. We've got our second best of one coming up for y'all. Union Gaming versus The House is Down. We've got Brazil facing off against Peru, Merlini.
And THD, not to be confused with The House is Down.
Yes.
And one of their guys doesn't even have a name. Well,
yeah.
He doesn't use it in game.
Well, his name is X, so he's not labeled, but just X, Professor X.
Maybe he just likes the mystery.
Can have the mystery. He's gonna play. Yeah, keep us on our toes. So we are a little slow getting into this game, but looks like they finally found a server that works. Those South American servers. Do you know anything about either of these teams coming into it, Merlini?
I'm looking at the names. Looks like the Dire team is using 2 stand-ins again.
Yes.
And that did not work out so well for.
That's a good point.
Our Dire team.
And one of their stand-ins, his name is just exclamation point. Could be anyone. Could be anyone. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the draft here. We'll get straight into it. House is Down, going to be on the Radiant side versus Union Gaming. They have taken their time with those initial bans. A first pick Clockwork into a first pick Rubik. What a nice change of pace that is.
Yeah, no Invoker.
No Invoker.
Which is somewhat surprising. I must say THD's everything looks just a little bit more professional. Their names. It's like all THD, all tagged up in Vestius, Goo, Neofolk, and Knive, and other ones. Stand-in Benjas, UG, with brackets over SDRL.
Citterall, yeah.
Camel case, or alternating caps too.
Yeah.
And then Jericho, parenthesis, Joyco.pe. Their names are just everywhere.
Yeah, they are everywhere.
I guess the PE is for Peru.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good thinking.
Or physical education.
Physical education.
If you're still in high school.
Oh my. So Elder Titan, interesting. And I'm looking at these initial bans.
That's a very early Elder Titan pick.
Yeah, and we haven't seen much Elder Titan recently. There's like Liquid still runs a lot of Elder Titan, but most other teams really don't.
I mean, maybe they have a really badass Elder Titan player, but at the same time, it's still a weak pick. Regardless, he gets crushed in a lot of matchups. Most off-lane one-on-one matchups he cannot perform very well. In the mid lane, I think he's okay.
And that's the question. Where are they going to run him? He could be a hard support, he could be an off-lane, or he could be mid.
I think he's pretty useless as a hard support.
Yeah.
I think he needs levels to be effective. If you're going to run a hard support for minus armor, you might as well run Dazzle, I think.
Now that's the spirit.
He's a lot more utility. Or Vengeful Spirit. Depends on whether you want more defensive or aggressive.
Yeah.
But he is just very lackluster as a support. Unreliable, disable, not that much damage. But if you want to play passive and go to the late game, he does scale decently. And he is very good anti-BKB. Not anti-BKB, but he can do a lot of damage through BKB. So.
And I'm looking at these initial bans because both teams actually took a lot of their initial bonus time and thought about these initial bans quite a bit. And Union Gaming with a first ban on Timbersaw, another one that we haven't seen a lot of. He's still a very powerful hero, but he was like a minor nerf in 6.8. Was it like a minor? I think it's starting
4
strength.
Base strength.
Yeah,
that's a lot though.
That's a lot.
It's 4 damage and it's 76 HP.
Is it enough to warrant Timbersaw really falling off as a pick though? He's still
he's still really good.
He's still good. Yeah, I like him. It's just interesting to see him banned out here. That makes me curious.
It's a gauntlet of strength and a third.
Oh yeah, and a third. I don't know. I mean, maybe Union are gearing up for like a strength carry type lineup here. Maybe they'll grab a Doom or something to go with that Elder Titan. It's possible. Although they banned out the Bristleback as well.
These aren't very good heroes to Doom, though. Clockwork and Venomancer are very useless. You don't want to be doing them.
Yeah.
So I think if they let off with the Invoker pick or Storm or something like that, like we saw last game, then an early Doom pick is very high priority. But yeah, I mean, with the Timber, they're just banning out all the strength heroes, and then Dire's just banning, or Radiance is banning all end heroes.
Yeah. So both teams are really taking their time here with these bans more so than the picks.
This is more like a 6.79-ish ban pick.
Ban pick setup, yeah. Yeah, actually, you're kind of right. I mean, Clockwork Veno was all the rage at the beginning of 6.79, and he's been a little hit or miss here.
Yeah, he's just alright. I still say he's like slightly above an average support in competitive. He's still decent, but he doesn't fit into every lineup like before.
Yeah. I think part of the problem with Veno is we see teams drafting. If you pick an early Veno, you really need another support that has some sort of a stun or a disable. That like Venomancer AA combo that was it Empire that was running. I'm not a big fan of the 2 supports with really no crowd controls other than slows. That can be something that bites you in the rear a little bit if you're not careful, but interesting. OD and Anti-Mage, the 3rd and 4th bans from The House is Down. Looks like they might not want to take this one super late.
These bans are just all over the place. Like
And there's a Wisp for
it's
ban.
probably just heroes that they don't like to play against,
Yeah.
as opposed to heroes that work well against them or work well with the other team. Because Elder Titan, he does like he reduces magic and physical. He's like so with I don't know. He's like so at like turtling if you wanted to play it with AM. He doesn't really synergize that greatly with OD. So I don't know. It's just heroes that they don't like to play against.
Yeah, I mean, who really likes playing against an anti-mage?
Who likes playing against OD?
Yeah, or a Venomancer for that matter.
5 seconds remaining.
Nobody really likes playing against Veno. I mean,
I can't say that I
he's
do.
just annoying. I mean, I don't know. The thing about Veno's just an interesting
I think
hero.
Slark likes playing against Venom.
Yeah, I guess Weaver likes playing against Veno.
Yeah, Weaver too.
Weaver's not bad.
Well,
Oh.
Weaver does slightly better
Radiant's
versus like
team pick.
mild burst, but not huge burst. Damage over time he doesn't do as well against.
Okay, I was thinking
So-
the slow, the Gale in
The
particular.
yeah, the slow too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Lincoln doesn't do a whole lot against Poison Nova.
No.
No.
Pipe.
Pipe.
Any magic resist. Anti-mage does well.
Yeah. So Alchemist, the third pick for Union. Again, a very open-ended draft here.
It's the minus armor threat.
I wonder though, is that support or carry Alchemist?
10
Probably
seconds
support.
remaining.
I'd say Elder Titan is more likely going to be solo, especially since they're gearing up
5
for more
seconds remaining.
armor strategy.
Mhm.
I don't think they have their carry or their other solo yet, so I don't think that
Reserve
any of
time.
these heroes will be carrying.
All right, so a Luna third pick for the house is down. A very well-rounded draft so far. I like them all.
They have pretty good push already,
Yeah.
and Union doesn't really have that great a push.
Good
So
push. Great initiation with the Clockwork. A
Mhm.
lot of team fight with the Luna mixed with the Venomancer. It's a pretty well-rounded. Of course, Luna, she is the definition of a hard carry. Boy, does she get scary.
it's more open-ended, I say, than Union's. Union is probably going to draft more physical damage, I'd
Mhm.
say.
10 seconds remaining.
They could go for Shadow Fiend. The mid hasn't been picked yet for the houses down.
5
They still have an
seconds
open-ended
remaining.
mid too, whether they want to go tempo controller or ganker or farmer. So looks like
Radiant
Storm will be their
team
pickup.
pick.
So it looks like a gank-oriented lineup.
Yeah. So, yeah. Looks like they'll want to grab a carry last, though they could also do another support. I really want to see a carry Alchemist work. Teams don't like to do it that much these days. Is that, like, even viable? Can you do a position 1 Alchemist right
yeah,
now?
it's good. It hasn't
It's
been.
good.
It hasn't really been nerfed that much. The one big problem is his HP pool
Yeah.
is really low now, and it used to be really high
Need that.
pre-chemical
10
rage change.
seconds
That casual
remaining.
Vit booster.
You can't go casual Vit booster though, because he needs items to do
5
damage. He doesn't do that
seconds
much damage if
remaining.
you don't get any items.
Yeah,
so
that's
I don't know. He's kind of in a tough spot. Like Luna does a lot of damage even without that many items.
Right.
With
Dire
Glaive
team back.
and Lunar Blessing, but Alchemist has a farming skill, but not a damage skill. I mean, I guess
Right.
Acid Spray is like so, but it's in like a BKB war. He's not going to be able to do that much unless you get huge amounts of farm.
Yeah. You know, that concoction nerf in 6.8, on paper, I was like, okay, that just makes it more fair.
10
It's not
seconds
Imba like it
remaining.
was. I feel like it's terrible now. I
It's
played
a good
Alchemist
s-
yesterday, and it's just like, I
5
didn't do any
seconds
damage. It's a
remaining.
Crystal Maiden. I mean, come on.
Well, before it was if you unstable concoction and medallion, you take her down to like
Reserve time.
15%.
Yeah, I know. That's what I liked about it. Now it's
You get a free finger of death.
yeah, it's just normal, and I don't care for the Alchemist so much anymore.
I didn't like him
Radiant
before.
team back.
Well, I thought he was just like super
Too
overpowered.
good. Too like the
His
the
thing
Earth
was like
Spirit of his
10
time.
times better than Roar. If you
Yeah.
played Beastmaster, his Roar doesn't do like any damage. And
well, there's a reason that nobody picks Beastmaster. I guess.
Beastmaster's awesome. I love that hero. He's a good
10
hero.
Yeah,
seconds
he's cool. I
remaining.
mean, I like him conceptually.
He was just like, why would you ever
5
pick him over
seconds
Alchemist? Though?
Yeah,
You just never would.
yeah. I mean,
But now,
Reserve
maybe.
time.
yeah. So what's interesting is Union actually ban out the Dazzle, and I feel like Dazzle would have been
Dire
a
team
great final pick for their roster. More minus armor, synergizes well with an Alchemist and a Rubik. But again, I'm assuming that they're going to do a carry Alchemist, and I guess that's pointing us in the direction that it will be a support. And we'll see what hard carry they want to pick up. The house is down, obviously, assuming they will go for a hard carry with that Spectre final ban.
Is Spectre that good versus their lineup? I don't know. It seems like they could just aggro try against a Spectre and just probably demolish them. I mean,
Yeah.
Rubik Alka is like okay, but it usually can't handle a Veno and a Veno and a
5
Luna
seconds
plus one
remaining.
when they're open end. They have the last pick too, so House is down could. I think they like if if they pick
Reserve
Spectre, they
time.
would probably just lose from the laning phase. But
Yeah. So Storm Spirit versus Invoker mid. Oh, Shadow Fiend.
Radiant
Interesting.
team.
so either safe Shadow Fiend or safe Storm. The Storm, I expected them to draft more minus armor, but I didn't expect them to draft Storm. I expected them to go like a solo mid like Shadow Fiend and then
Yeah.
like
They have a lot of options for laning this. They could do like an aggro try. They could put Storm Spirit in the safe lane. They could put him mid. They could put Elder Titan in the safe lane. They could put him in mid. Or they could
10
even do a tri
seconds
lane with
remaining.
Storm Spirit. That would be funky, but we have seen teams do it. That position 1 Storm. Era has done it
5
to a fair
seconds
bit of success.
remaining.
yeah, I think position 1 Storm is fine, and the last pick Lion.
Yeah,
See, like
Makes sense.
the Wisp ban didn't really make sense because like Wisp does not do very well versus Storm Spirit. It's like it makes her lineup a bit greedy. I don't know. I think they could have if they wanted to pick a Storm Spirit and a Shadow Fiend, they could have banned out a more aggressive support rather than a passive support. So
Yeah, and Lion works really well against Storm Spirit. Of course, Storm is one of those heroes that thrives in an environment without a lot of crowd control, and they really don't have a lot of hard stuns. So I think that last pick Lion, smart choice.
Quas Wex does destroy Storm Spirit though. The high level Quas makes it unable for him to zip out through the stun lock.
And speaking of that matchup, it's what we saw in game number 1, and obviously, if you recall, Invoker dominated.
That should not be that one-sided though.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I was thinking.
I feel like you can just sit on your hill, play passively. If he wants to come up, he's gonna have to walk into a remnant. So
right,
at worst, you trade farm.
right.
And I wasn't actually watching the laning phase that much, but from what I've seen before and personal experience, it should not be that one-sided.
Yeah. I was a little bit surprised.
I
as
mean, I
well.
guess maybe with a threat of like a Nature's Prophet, or maybe he just thought you could play like any other matchup and like run in and Remnant. But I mean, even if you run in Remnant, like I don't know, it just seemed like the other one just got destroyed. It might have been a skill difference too.
Yeah,
Was it their stand-in player?
you know, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I want to say
either.
it was, but I don't remember. Yeah. So, admin told me to remake and change stand-ins. All right, looks like we will have another remake here. What would it be without a remake, Merlini?
Yeah, what? I don't know why they need to change stand. THD needs to change stand. I don't know what's going on, but he says go remake, so we will remake.
All right, yeah.
The word.
The admins are the boss, so interesting. So all in all, not having any idea about the individual skill levels here. Any thoughts about the drafts? Do you favor one, Merlini?
I'd say that the Clockwork Veno one is Clockwork Veno,
Radiant,
Luna. Who are the other two?
Veno, Clockwork, Veno, Luna, Invoker, and Lion.
Lion. I like their draft more, I think. I don't think the Storm Spirit fits that well in their lineup because they're trying to play passively with a Storm Spirit and an Elder, or they're trying to play passively with a Shadow Fiend and an Elder Titan, and those are two very passive heroes, and Storm's a very aggressive hero.
Mm.
So they don't really have like a synergistic strat, I think. And on the opposite side, we have the Luna, the Venomancer, the Clockwork, the very gank-oriented, teamfight-oriented, and push-oriented. They can just clump up as 5 if things go poorly, or if things go well, and just storm down mid lane or storm down, take down all the T1s.
Speaking of Storm, I worry about that Storm Spirit against a Lion and Quaswex Invoker, assuming he's going to go Quaswex. I guess we don't know for sure, but
yeah,
can assume he's going to have his work cut out for him.
he is. He's gonna need a BKB or an early Orchid, but I doubt he's gonna be able to farm it.
Yeah, that early Orchid, that's a gamble against a roster like that. I don't know if he'll be able to pull it off.
I don't think he'll be able to farm it. I think if he got it, it would work well, but I don't think he'll be able to farm it at a reasonable time.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of the golden standard with Storm Spirit. It's what do you go first, Orchid or BKB? And if you can get
He's
the Orchid,
gonna have to get BKB this game.
if you can go with the Orchid, it's good. But some games you're forced to get that BKB, and that slows down.
If you're like versus Magnus, you can definitely go Orchid first. But
Right.
versus
When you get that BKB, you just have no mana pool though. You know, you can't be zipping all over the place. It sort of limits.
yeah,
how
you don't do that much
aggressive
damage.
you can
Like
be.
a Shadow Fiend with BKB is much more useful than a Storm Spirit with BKB. I feel like.
Right.
I mean, it's better for like picking off a weak hero like Lion, but at the same time, like if things aren't going your way and you're playing passively, and Lion has a blink, Storm Spirit is just absolutely boned.
Right.
So and you just completely take the mid hero out of the game. So
Right.
I think it's gonna be important for them to put pressure on early.
Mhm.
But at the same time, they don't have the lineup for it. They have Shadow Fiend and an Elder Titan who can't do anything early.
That's part of the problem with Elder Titan.
Yeah.
Right. So it's gonna be interesting. Dire will have their work cut out for him, I think.
Yeah. Radiant, just more well-rounded lineup. They have plenty of ways to protect Luna. Venomancer, one of the best babysitters in the game.
Yep.
They have good initiation for team fights, a good amount of AoE. Quaswex, Invoker, Tornado, EMP, Eclipse, Venomous Gale,
Right.
Poison Nova. They have plenty of ways to
Right.
They have a lot of sustained damage, and they have a lot of burst damage too with Finger of Death.
Yeah, that's very true. Speaking of Finger of Death, are we ever going to see an Ags Lion in a competitive game? Is that?
I think so.
I've been waiting
It'll come
for
out
it.
soon. I think position 1 or position 2 Lion is actually not that bad.
Okay.
He doesn't do too poorly in most matchups. I think he can definitely lane versus like a Storm or most solo mids. He can probably do like Soso versus Invoker. He can at least straight farm and get a fast level 6. But level 1 Finger of Death has 600 damage, and if you combine that with a level 3 Impale, it's like
It's a lot of damage.
And you right click someone a couple times, like anyone at 700 HP is just gonna die flat out. So I think he's very strong in that regard, and if you get an early Blink Dagger, it just works so well, especially when teams try and play passive. You just like Blink Hex. The Blink Hex initiate is just incredibly potent, and it's very underrated. And
level 4 Hex on Lion, is it 4 seconds? 3.5? It's
think
long. It's a good duration.
yeah, they've been flitting around with that values. I think it's around 4.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less than 4.
3.5 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I just want to see that. I'm waiting for that one epic Finger of Death.
I tried
game
I tried some draft games with Fogged where he would draft some. He would have a position 1 Lion or a farming Lion in the safe lane, not necessarily position 1, but close enough. And he drafted like a Magnus and a Darkseer or an Enigma in different games, and we just never got it off. At the same time, we did have our pub player playing the Lion, and sometimes he wanted to play a Lion, and by the time he got Finger of Death, he didn't actually need the RP or anything to kill people. So it was like, I don't know. It in theory it sounds really nice, but in actuality, like 200 radius is very small.
Yeah.
And in competitive, most people don't clump up.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's rare that you see like an epic 4 or 5 man RP where a Finger of Death would just annihilate their whole team. That just doesn't really.
Yeah.
Teams are too well positioned.
The thing about most of the Ags upgrades is they sound very useful in theory, like Doom Never Ending Doom.
Omni Knight is the classic one. It sounds so cool on paper, and it's
terrible.
so crappy.
It's very terrible.
It's awful.
Like if they came around with something else like half CD or something like that, then that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But even something like I don't know. Most of them are just like so. Disruptors sound really good in theory. Anti-BKB, but it's just you can't farm it. AA sounds pretty good too, but he's probably one of the most difficult to farm with supports in the game.
AA, at least I've actually seen that a few times.
I've seen it a few times.
So that one is that one I'll disagree a little bit, but it is hard to farm.
It's really hard to farm.
That one's worth it though. The Omni Knight one, even if he had the gold, there's so many better items you could get. Like, whoa, you get another glyph. Whoa.
Then you don't have your ult for team fights.
And then you don't have your ult for team fights. Or
it'd be cool if they like change it into 2 separate ultimates, like one like with same CD.
That would be
but
cool.
not sharing cooldown, just like one straight for building and one straight for global.
Kind of like what they did with Beastmaster when they switched his
that would be awesome. Or like what other one would be really cool that's like absolutely useless right now? I've seen some. Windrunners is the most useless act. That is like awful.
She gets like attack modifiers. That's
her attack modifiers no longer have any attack damage penalty, and there's no cooldown.
Right.
But that is useless.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that hard carry Windrunner build, but it takes you like 45 minutes to farm all the items to start doing damage.
Yeah. Even if you have like Maelstrom plus that, it doesn't do that much.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad. There are a couple other really useless ones, and I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
I saw somebody get Ags on Huskar the other day in one of my pub games.
The Ags on Huskar is ridiculous.
It's good?
It's like 5 or 6
I mean, nobody ever picks Huskar.
It's
so
like it's initially 15-second cooldown, and it's like 5 or 6 with Ags, and you just keep jumping around and killing people.
Oh, okay.
It's
all right.
pretty legit.
So it's worthwhile on Huskar?
It's definitely legit. Yeah.
All right. Now we just have to get somebody to pick Huskar in a competitive
game. What other
game.
ones are there that's...
Maybe we'll have...
I think like Windrunner, imagine if it was just like no damage penalty from Pokestar. Would that be imbalanced? Maybe, but at least we would see it.
Yeah.
It would be cool.
That's a fair point.
Ags on Puck is probably second most useless.
I don't even know what it does. I've never seen someone do that.
So if you coil, it lasts like 5 seconds. It lasts like 6 seconds instead, and I think it like makes a stun like half a second longer or something if you break it. Or the initial stun, I don't know.
Abaddon's is pretty bad too, actually.
Oh yeah,
it's
like one.
It gives you 1 extra second of unborrowed time. I think.
I think a lot of these could just be like so much better. Like, if you had like Ags Riki, imagine if he could like I don't know.
What would he even do? Just go more invisible? I mean, it's like how does Superman fly faster? Just
you can make like I don't know teammates around you in 100 radius invis or something. I don't know. See, you can come up with cool
get creative
stuff.
with it. Okay, yeah. I like the Ags ults that are like different. Like they kind of change the ability, kind of, not just adds a little bit of duration. Those are the ones
some of them are really good. Like Impotent, like Enchantress. She has
Okay, yeah.
That's really good. It synergizes very well. It gives her extra 190 range.
Right, yeah.
THD or macro fire goes super fast. Those are kind of cool.
Okay.
It changes your ultimate though.
Yeah.
But like Quap, I guess is really boring. It just
Quap.
reduces your cooldown to
Yeah.
40.
But that one, I mean, that's a pretty short
It's very
cooldown. It's
significant.
pretty good.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right. All right, maybe I'll take that back.
Some of them are really good. Some of them are really crappy. Like
Yeah.
I mean, Omni Knights, it changes it, but it's still really crappy.
Yeah. Okay.
So
At least it's cool though.
Yeah.
It's cool to think about all the
or like compare that to like Witch Doctors. Witch Doctors is like insane.
Oh, it ends up splitting, right? It
Yeah,
goes into three.
it bounces. It bounces and just like kills their whole entire
That
team.
one, someone, it might have been Brian was telling me that Witch Doctor has like the highest potential damage output in a team fight. If he has Ag Scepter, because of the way it splits and bounces, like he can do an
Yeah.
absurd amount of damage with that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Why don't we ever see Witch Doctor?
We
What's
do
wrong
see
with
Witch Doctor sometimes.
that? Oh yes.
I saw
Sometimes.
Ehug run it once with a farming Witch Doctor, and it,
Yeah.
I think it. I don't remember if it worked out or not, but he did get Midas Ags.
Really?
Yeah.
What position was he? Was he hard support? Or
He
was
was a support, and then I think he's just like, screw my team, I'm gonna farm my Ags.
Okay.
And then he didn't help him
Alright.
for like 25 minutes.
All right. Interesting. That's.
Witch Doctor can like actually do decently.
Could you
in the
do a
jungle,
Witch
too.
Doctor mid? Like, does he do enough
He
damage
does
for that to
okay.
be?
With the cask changes too. Before
Yeah.
you couldn't bounce up the hill, which is
What?
dumb. The fog cancels cask. You can't bounce the units in fog, rather.
But you can now.
You can now. So now it's
Wow.
more useful because like in the mid, you're
Yeah, that's
down
so
the hill
stupid.
a lot.
I never realized that Cask was owned by Fog.
Yeah, well, it used to be. Now it's not. So
Wow.
now it's a much more useful hero. I don't know.
Good
There's
to know.
there's a lot of them that are just like the Ags upgrades are just like crappy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, come on, give me a real Ags.
Give me a
upgrade.
break here. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Luna Ags. How about hers?
Luna Ags is okay, but it changes her into a caster instead of a damage dealer. But
Yeah,
her
it's true.
her second and third skills are straight physical damage. So
Right.
it doesn't synergize very well with the hero.
Yeah. I think I saw an Ags refresher once. We
Mm.
might have been casting together. I think it was Starladder season
That's
8.
just like if you're destroying.
I think
teams
Eternal
and-
Envy did it.
and you
Is
want to
it-
clown on them.
Yeah. It was pretty clowny,
Yeah,
but
it's like rubbing salt into the wounds. It's like, hey, I'm gonna beat you with this crappy
God.
build.
I guess it's true. Oh, it looks like we might actually be going here. This is a long break. I don't know if someone had to reset or if one of their stand-ins needed a stand-in. I don't know exactly what the...
You can't use stand-ins from Star Series teams.
Oh.
So they were using
okay.
other Peruvians. And they can't do that.
Look at you. I see. You read exactly what Velat said in the lobby. Well done.
I know.
Good detective work.
Whew, I got it.
You're going to get an upgrade from police officer to detective soon, Merlini. You're
I can be both.
working your way up.
I'm not-
If you keep working, maybe you'll become captain. You never know. You'll be like Captain
I'm
Kragan.
supposed to wear
Law and
the costume one of these days.
Yeah, one of these days.
One of these days.
If you work your way up, we could do like a whole like Law and Order LARP. I
I get my own
I could be
office, too?
Stabler.
And do I get mace and stuff?
Sure.
and
You
taser?
can have whatever you want. It's your LARP, man. It's your fantasy. You can do whatever you want.
What about in real life? I'm supposed to be a detective in real life, though. I don't want to work hard for a fantasy title.
I've never actually met a detective in real life. I don't really know. I know like the stereotypical, like you get like the trench coat, Sherlock Holmes, get you a pipe or something, but I don't
That would
really,
work.
I don't know what real
I could
detectives
go with a pipe.
do. Yeah, I go with a pipe, Merlini
Go
pipe.
with the pipe.
a real life pipe of insight. So we actually have a draft here. We are resumed. We are ready to rock and roll. Oh, you like our Furion?
Well, I was looking at the runes on his back because he has his necklace on him, and there's these like runes, but I don't actually know if they mean anything.
I'm sure they have some significance. I mean, somebody somewhere came
don't
up with
know.
those runes.
Yeah, it's
And
probably hard to
said,
see on camera.
This is what we want. That's Brian's. That's K-pop Toast. Donated for the good of BTS.
Yeah, I thought it might like spell something, but I don't know Furion's language.
I don't know what he speaks. What race is he? What is
I don't-
Furion? Is he he's obviously a druid, but is he
I think
I
he's
guess
like
he's an
the
elf.
arch druid of
Like-
the I don't know
Does
night
that- does
elves.
that make him a night elf?
Malfurion Stormrage.
Whoa.
He has this cool title.
Yeah.
Didn't he play Warcraft 3?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I'm a little rusty on my lore, but
I played through the Night Elf campaign.
Yeah, I did once, but it was a long time ago.
Malfurion.
See, I wasn't big on the campaign in Warcraft 3. I'm a multiplayer guy. I'm not a campaign guy.
I'm not a campaign guy either, but I don't really know too much about a story, but some people do.
Yeah.
They can probably there's probably lore somewhere.
Yeah.
There has to be.
The wild books I read were the one about Thrall and the one about Arthas. So I know all about Arthas. That
I
one's
played
cool.
through both of those campaigns.
Yeah. Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay.
We're in the game.
Okay, cool. Let's get back.
All right, let's get in here, guys. So this is actually game 2 of the day coming up. Our second best of one. There was an extended
Prepare
break,
for
but we've got
battle.
THD up against Union Gaming. THD, of course. The house is down. Marlini, do you want to introduce our Radiant side?
Sure. The Radiant side, we have THD, blank name, X, whatever, on the Invoker. We have Vestius on the support Venomancer as part of the Tri-Lane, paired with Goo as the other support on the Demon Witch, also known as Lion. We have Neofolk with the cool Luna set on the Luna. And last but not least, we have Knive on the Clockwork solo offlane, dropping the obs there. No one in sight for UG.
I do like that Luna set. It's
30
pretty darn
seconds
epic.
to battle.
One of the coolest sets they have out there right now, I think. On the Dire side, we do have Union Gaming. Angel will be in the off lane, playing on the Elder Titan. In the mid, it will be Citadel. It's the brackets make it look confusing, but it's just Citadel on the Shadow Fiend. It will be solo mid. Jericho will be on the support Alchemist up top here. Is that Steel? Xander Steel playing on the Rubik? And Benjaz playing on what appears to be a position 1 Storm Spirit. So they are going to do this. In my mind, what I think of is era style, though I don't know if that's proper credit. Did he pioneer that kind of position 1 Storm, or was he late to the party?
It's been done for a
It's
really
been done
long
for a
time.
long time.
I remember back in the day, they used to have a Storm Spirit Coddle dual lane, and it would just be, he would just, if it were a hard lane, you would just blast the wave, and then you would just Remnant the creep, and then just get all the gold. And if it's a really easy lane, you just get Coddle to pull and stack, and then just feed him with Chakra and teleport him around with recall. So it was kind of like a weird Superman kind of strat, but it's definitely been done before. Long time.
Look at this already. Jericho and Steel blow a smoke, but unfortunately it was caught by this Radiant Observer ward right here, and I can't draw
That's very careless. As Dire, when you smoke, you should always be like way far back here in the tree so that you don't get it revealed. I can understand that they want to use it like a little bit later, especially with the smoke duration being decreased from 40 to 35, but the element of surprise is the most important thing about a smoke, and if they know you're smoked, well, there goes your element of surprise.
Right. And we
it's an Exhort Invoker, so that's something different already.
Interesting. So is there any possibility that this is just a value point in Exhort for a little bit of early game presence, then he'll transition into Crosswax?
Because if you get 1 point in Exhort, you won't have Tornado and Tornado and Cold Snap until level 4 at earliest, and it'll be level 1. So looks like they are going for the gank. And
wow! Oh no, Jericho stunned himself.
That was very poorly planned. They split up too. Alchemist went this way, and then a hasted Rubik went this way, and they didn't initiate at the same time. So they should either both take the same path, or Rubik should go in much earlier, or Alchemist could channel a stun later. But that's not the worst thing in the world for them. They wasted a smoke, but at the same time, they have 6 last hits on Shadow Fiend. So now he pretty much has Exhort damage.
Yeah, so at least they zoned him out, or helped zone out that Invoker. They will actually use another smoke, and again, Jericho will stun himself, so not off to a good start.
Now
on
we're
that
saying
Alchemist.
the 7 to 5 second stun is, you don't have that much wiggle room for error, but that's how stun should be. It's like, well, if you screw it up, you screw it up. Not like, hey, I have all the time in the world to throw this overpowered thing that doesn't have your HP.
Yeah, appropriate risk
Angel
and return.
on bottom.
So and
looks like he was about to get initiated on.
So that's 2 smokes down for Union Gaming already. Both ganks unsuccessful. So I suppose you could call that a win for the houses down already, even though we have a pretty even laning phase starting out. So I feel like it's been so long since we saw this draft. I gotta get back in the lone zone here for this game. Looks like Luna is off to a pretty good start down bottom. Neofolk and pretty much free farm heaven. Not much the offlane Elder Titan can do to slow down that farm. And Storm grabbing a comparable amount of last hits, actually about 3 up on the Luna right now. Clockwork sitting level 3, Elder Titan sitting level 2, but just about to ding 3. So pretty even across the boards here to get things started, Merlini.
Yep, fairly even in lane. I think that THD isn't going to be able to pressure Shadow Fiend at all, though, because they're very busy trying to zone out the Elder Titan. They should be able to kill the Elder Titan, too. He's not that strong of an offlane hero, and he's just taking harasses now and then, but he doesn't even have a Stout Shield, and he still has 2 Reserve Tankos, so he's been, like, under almost no pressure on bottom, and he's level 3, so...
Is Boots first with an Elder Titan off lane? Is that standard? I feel like a Stout Shield is almost required, especially against a triple ranged.
It depends on whether or not your Observer Ward stays up. Like, look at his Observer Ward. He plays it there very early, and for some reason, THD was very passive at the start, even though they have the stronger tri-lane.
And look at this. Threw down two
Yeah,
sentries.
they threw down
They
two
didn't get the
sentries. They
ward.
weren't able to find it. They have a Luna, a Veno, and a Lion. That is very, very scary. If any one hero comes into there, he's dead. So
Right.
Elder Titan should not have been able to place that Observe Ward, at least not unnoticed. Yeah, sure, if he plays Observe Ward, he should get the sentry right away, but THD was very slow to the get-go, and now they're paying for it because Elder Titan is level 3, and now they aren't able to pull at all. Vestius is still level 2, Lion is level 2 as well, but, I mean, he's just having the time of his life.
Yeah. So Angel getting experience and continuing to grab a few last hits here and there, sitting 3-0 compared to his counterpart up top. Clockwork, he's now level 4, sitting 3-1 as well. So we'll see how that continues to work out. In the mid, how are we looking here? Shadow Fiend, 15-4 against the Invoker, sitting 10-4, so relatively even, though Shadow Fiend is starting to pull ahead just a little bit. Maybe compliments of that early start, but looks like it will indeed be a Quas Exort Invoker. Forge Spirits and Cold Snap already online.
Yep, it's decent, but unfortunately he's not going to get any support anytime soon. The Venomancer does have a smoke, but I mean, there goes Initiate on Angel, but the Venomancer's a little far away. Nope, not going to be able to get it.
Oh,
Vestius is out of position.
Yeah. Oh boy, if he connected with a Gale there,
I think it would have
probably would have been a kill. At least would have been close.
He had 2 Lucent Beams too, so.
Wow, this Elder Titan is full of wins so far, and not even going to guard the Sat Shield. He just goes straight for a Sage's Mask, looking for that mana regen. Feeling very brave here in the long lane.
Why not, man? Why not?
Why not? If they're not going to harass
they
you
can't
back,
zone him out.
might as well. Looks like Jericho has moved into the Dire jungle on the Alchemist. He is only partway into level 2, starting to stack up a little bit, and we'll start to grab a little bit of farm, perhaps with that Acid Spray. And Storm is off to a good start as well. Does have that early Basilius as well as early Boots of Speed. Although a rotation coming from THD. Smoke used on the Veno as well as the Lion. And it looks like they want to put some pressure on the Shadow Fiend. Will it be successful, though?
Nope.
Oh, the smoke's broken.
Now it's too obvious. Invoker's like tanking creeps, and you usually don't tank creeps unless something fishy is happening, so.
Right away, Shadow Fiend just backs up to his tower.
Yep.
Although
They're going around, but the smoke is right about to pop in about 3 seconds time, and he is in a pretty safe position. They don't have any wards for him, but they know that his supports are missing on bottom. Elder Titan is scared. He's heading back to base, and he still potentially could get caught out. Here comes Lion.
Yep, it's nighttime. He has no idea. There's the Hexa started off. Shadow Fiend just hitting level 6 before this fight starts. Sunstrike will barely clip the Shadow Fiend, and they make it happen. Lion grabs the last hit for a bit of bonus gold. Nighttime is what made that gank happen, Merlini.
Yeah, he should have known that the gank was coming just because no one was on bottom, and they have this observer ward here, so they know they're not pulling or even doing the big camp. So it should have been fairly obvious on his viewpoint. He got a little bit greedy. Maybe if you can get a quick double raise and then get out, you'll be okay, but they were just waiting for him.
Well, a well-executed gank will give THD a little bit of an edge here in the early game. And Shadow Fiend ports back. He does have a regeneration rune bottled up that he grabbed at the 4-minute mark as well. So
Yeah, I mean, he could have just been doing like this triple stack here and not lose out on in terms of efficiency. So I'm very surprised that he did stay around. Looks like Venomancer's almost level 4, Lion's almost level 3. Angel may take a spill here.
They will come from
He
behind.
is so far ahead.
Oh, no. This is about the worst position you can be in. There's the Hexa started off. Does have enough for the Earth Spike. Will connect. Sunstrike on the mark. Luna the one to grab the kill. Gonna make it 2-0 here to start off this match.
Yep. And the supports on the side of Union Gaming have not been doing that much besides stacking. And Rubik is doing okay in terms of level. He doesn't even have brown boots yet, though, but they are getting Shadow Fiend nice and fat, though.
Yeah, SF is really off to a good start. He is actually not as good as I thought. If you look at the net worth chart, he's number 4, barely behind that of Invoker. And, of course, the two one-position heroes on both teams are topping the charts at the moment. Though that may change as Shadow Fiend now takes out this triple stack. And, oh, there you go. A nice little gold pick-me-up there for Nevermore.
And experience. He was level 6, now he's level 8.5. So that's pretty important for him.
And also Jericho gets to hold the mid lane, so he'll grab a little bit of experience. I don't think he'll get too many last hits against the level 7 Invoker as he's forced to play very defensive, but at least gets to hold. He's actually out of experience range now as well, so strike that from the record, Merlini. Just hanging out in the mid lane, making sure the tower doesn't get looked at the wrong way, keeping it steady. There's his level 3.
There he goes. But Alchemist is a very aggressive support, and they haven't been. They wasted their 2 smokes very early, and after that, they weren't able to afford anything. He can't pick up boost that early. I mean, he has it now, but it's 7 minutes in, and Invoker will die very early, especially when he's Exort. So they weren't able to capitalize on the different build of the Invoker. They weren't able to kill Clockwork on top, and they weren't able to protect their solos from the ganks in a 4 to 6. So overall, Union Gaming, all they've been just doing is stacking the supports. That's the only nice thing they've done this game. But at the same time, they're actually still a little bit behind. It looks like Angel's going to take an Eclipse to the face.
Yeah, Neofolk hitting level 6 will secure the kill. Actually, Lion grabs that one, but in comes the support, and they get a counter kill on the Luna. Well done by the Storm as he starts it off with an Electric Vortex. Zips forward, looking to set it up on Goo, but unfortunately the support won't be nearby. And
Alchemist
Goo
is
will
0 for
survive.
3 on stuns.
Yep.
We need a counter.
And oh, Shadow Fiend.
Was it toxin?
Uh-oh. Disengage will continue on. Shadow Fiend will pay for that kill he was able to pick up on the Venomancer. And that's going to be a 1-for-1 in the mid.
Ooh, Invoker has Midas, so we're talking about phase Midas in 8 minutes. That's
Pretty
pretty
quick.
strong.
Yeah. UG will rotate down to the bottom lane. Looks like they have plans to pressure this bottom tier 1 tower. There is a double damage rune in the bottom position that spawned at the 8-minute mark. And that could actually have a pretty big impact on this upcoming fight, as Clockwork is level 7. Hookshot is on cooldown from that last engagement, but does have a bottle and will grab the DD. Yeah, no, that's it. Both sides will just back up.
THD's in a pretty good position going into this mid game because they've killed each of the solo heroes at least once. Elder Titan has died twice. Actually, they've killed both of them twice. Storm Spirit has not gotten like tremendous amounts of farm. He's actually number 4 in terms of net worth, and Lion does shut him down pretty hard, at least in this early game before he has a BKB. So I don't think that Union Gaming can play aggressively at all. Whereas THD, they have the option of playing passively with the Midas and farming it up and getting huge on Luna with an HOD if they like, or they can play very aggressively with Lion, Venomancer, and Clockwork, leading off for ganks. And Clockwork already been involved in that very important kill on a Shadow Fiend too. So Union Gaming, they're forced to play like a very reactive playstyle. They don't have very many options open to them, and less options is almost always worse in Dota.
Yeah, and this is one of these situations where Alchemist feels like he hasn't really had a big impact. So far, Jericho
He hasn't stunned anybody.
Yep, hasn't really done a whole lot. Hookshot in the mid will be off the mark.
He's a hookshot bait.
Yeah, but he's just like he's underfarmed. Even Rubek, I mean, he's lowest on the net worth right now, about half of what.
Well, they also
THD
weren't there to
supports
soak
are.
experience up from the stacks from Shadow Fiend too, so that hurts him a lot.
Yeah, so these underleveled supports will hold back
Oh,
UG
they're gonna run into them.
just a little bit here. And yeah, there's the smoke from Jericho as well as Steel. Gale does connect. In comes some initiation onto the Venomancer. And now Storm taking some damage. Will soak up those wand charges. Looking to get aggressive, but it'll cost him. Invoker does finish him off. Rubik will get caught inside the cogs as well. That will make it a 2-for-0 in favor of THD. Jericho and Angel retreat back to the tower. They do survive to tell the tale, but THD, pardon me, take a very successful little skirmish there.
Lion's been very, very good about his positioning this game, and he's always like in place in case Storm jumps him, but he's not in a position where Storm can jump him. He's usually in the fog. He's usually hiding behind. Like, look at him right now. He's just chilling in the trees, waiting for something to happen. And if they do go on Luna, he's right there to help. But at the same time, he's still out of sight in the fog, so that they don't know where he is at any time. So he's doing a very good job of not letting Storm get easy jumps. He has paid for it, and he is nowhere close to his Orchid. So THD doing very well going into the mid game, and they're up by 2,000 gold and about 2,000 experience, which isn't the most significant thing in the world, but it's with their hero comp, they can take the mid game by storm.
And given that there's only one Midas on the field, and it is in the hands of Invoker on THD, well, that does mean that that early lead should transition into an even more significant lead as that Midas starts to kick in. Invoker pressuring the tier 1 tower in the mid lane, and rotations do come about. They will delay that push, and meanwhile up top, Storm Spirit will pressure the tier 1 tower on the Radiant side of the map. Support comes in, and Knive does have a hook shot available. Perhaps they can set something up. There is a Venomancer nearby.
They need Lion to kill him. He's just trying to leech.
They won't be able
Level
to lock
6
him
on
down.
bottom, though.
Yeah, very close. And Luna is level 8, does have another Eclipse available here. So is ready to fight if someone comes down to this lane, but of course happy just to sit back and farm.
Shadow Fiend's also going on Midas.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, and there it is. He'll pick it up right around the 12-minute mark. Not the fastest Midas for Shadow Fiend, but
I don't think
timing.
it's going to work out well for him because he needs a BKB, or else he was just going to die to Finger or Invoker. and they're not going to be able to mid-game teamfight because of this. So this really pigeonholes Union Gaming strategy, and now he's still going to die to the Clockwork.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. And the Requiem of Souls from the death, almost enough to turn it around on the Clockwork, but just not enough. Invoker actually walks away with that last hit. Gets a little bit of experience out of it as well. And that, whoops, oh gosh. Down bottom, they grab a kill on the Rubik.
Oh, if he gets beamed and fingered, he is dead.
Yeah, Storm Spirit needs to be very careful here. Luna does have an ultimate available. There's the finger, there's the beam, and they turn it around. Oh no, it's just getting worse and worse for UG. Unstable Concoction comes out, connects with the Lion, but it just tickles him. It's like throwing feathers inside of a bottle, Merlini. It just doesn't do much damage.
That was very unfortunate for Union Gaming. Now, their two most important heroes have died, the Storm Spirit and the Shadow Fiend, and they're just getting further and further behind. They need to be on the same page. Storm is looking for kills, Shadow Fiend is looking for farm. So they need to work together. They can pick off heroes very easily if they just get a good initiate with a double raise. That is a good, like, 800, 900 damage right there, and that is enough to pick off anybody on the side of THD, especially this Exhort Invoker with no survivability items. He has no HP items except one GG branch. He doesn't have a Force Staff or a Yules or anything, and now's the time to strike. If you wait like a couple minutes,
it's over now. There's the Force Staff.
Yeah, so now things are looking really bad for Union Gaming. Yeah. They can get back in this game. They need a stack. They need a medallion so they can do Roshan because they're dire and they have a lot of minus armor, and they aren't completely out of it. But at the same time, if THD chooses to relent the pressure and just chooses to farm, then maybe UG can get back in this game. But if they keep pressuring him hard with Clockwork and Lion constantly looking for ganks as they have been, then they're going to be in a very tight pickle.
A tight pickle indeed, my friend. It looks like Alchemist is working towards the medallion, but still a ways off as he is just poor as they come. And it looks like we could see a skirmish start to heat up down here in the bottom lane. Invoker topping the net worth chart by a pretty good margin now, just breaking that 7k barrier. And I think he's going to continue to pick up pretty solid farm here as they will start to knock down some of these towers. The mid tier 1 tower did actually fall to the wrath of THD while we were looking at something else, and now they will pressure this bottom tier 1. Luna, level 9, another Eclipse available. Actually never used it for the second time. That was just a Lucent Beam to set up those kills. So THD are eager to find a team fight here perhaps. Veno, not quite level 6, but still plenty of damage output. Lion,
THD doesn't need a push. I'm not exactly sure why they're pushing right now. The pressure's not on them to push. The pressure's on them to get kills and outfarm. And pushing is not the best way to do it, especially when they don't have a mech. They could potentially take a very bad team fight.
Oh, there's the hook shot in, though. Will connect on the level 5 Rubik. Not much Rubik can do. He'll be the first to take a fall. The tier 1 tower down bottom falls. Earth Splitter comes out. Jericho will stun himself. Poor guy. Oh, it's just getting worse for UG. A free kill and a free tower.
Yep. And meanwhile, the two important heroes are farming. They're doing what they should be doing. Shadow Fiend needs his BKB ASAP. Storm Spirit needs his Orchid up ASAP. And they're probably both going to come in around the 20-minute mark. So Union Gaming just needs to delay pushes for 5 minutes, and then potentially they can take a fight depending on THD's items. Looks like Luna's actually going to have a BKB too. So I think at the 20-minute mark, Luna and Shadow Fiend, or actually Shadow Fiend's going to be way ahead on her then. They haven't been able to stack at all either. This is just a single stack too. So Luna's going to have her work cut out for her, I think, in the mid game, especially with presence of the Dark Lord and a medallion on her. She cannot win the BKB war.
Yeah. And another thing to keep in mind, Union Gaming working towards a mech, and it's actually just about to come out on the Elder Titan. He's got the 2 core pieces and enough for the recipe. And no mech on the way for THD, so that will help their team fight presence. We will see a smoke here, but
silly.
It's an illusion.
He hexed it.
It's an illusion. Oh boy, the jig is up. Shadow Fiend knows that there is trickery afoot, and he will try and make it to a tower. Maybe he doesn't know trickery is afoot. Oh boy. Oh boy. I mean,
he should have known. His illusion just disappeared.
Yeah.
So the only way it can instantly disappear is with a hex or with a mana drain. Yeah. And that means that Lion's around and he's smoked. But
yeah, and wow. So Shadow Fiend will take a spill. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is actually smoked up in the mid lane. All 4 of them. And a visibility rune will spawn at the top position at the 16-minute mark. They grab it. Storm Spirit bottles it up. THD almost getting caught in a pickle there as they were starting to converge on the rune themselves, but they will reveal the smoke in time.
THD is just playing much smarter than UG right now. UG's trying to play this style is like, hey, can you kill us faster than we can farm? Which has worked before, but at the same time they need people creating space, not their carries dying. Like if their supports were able to put some sort of pressure on Luna or Clock or Invoker, then maybe they could get away with this. But as it's going right now, THD is getting too far ahead. At the same time, Invoker is 2,700 gold, so that's a lot. They have no mech on the side of THD, and that's going to hurt them in this upcoming team fights, though. I think that potentially Clockwork should have gotten a mech instead of a Blade Mail, especially since Shadow Fiend is going for a BKB, and Storm Spirit is probably going to go for a BKB after his Orchid. His Blade Mail won't be that effective, and he also didn't go for Tread, so he doesn't have that much HP to Blade Mail away.
Right.
So if they want a mech, I think they could just pressure top T1, possibly the top T2, and then just take control of UG's jungle and Ancients, and then just limit their farm that way. But as it stands right now, they're still in a somewhat precarious position.
Yep. And with that, Invoker will go ahead and spend his money. Does grab himself a Mystic Staff for a little bit of extra intellect. Probably will turn it into a Sheep Stick. And there's the BKB up on Luna. So 2 big items now in the inventories of THD. They will rotate up to the top lane. Invoker will just intercept the creeps of those Forge Spirits. Should make for an easy Tier 1 tower push. This is the last Tier 1 tower for Union Gaming, and it looks like, well, they want to grab a Tier 1 tower of their own as they group up and pressure the mid Tier 1. Glyph comes out straight away from the Radiant. We'll see how they react. They do have Clockwork on the high ground, looking for a hook shot in. The mech popped right away.
This is not a good trade for THD. When you're ahead, you never want to make even trades because you have that advantage. And just trading a T1 for that T1, especially considering UG's dire and they have minus armor heroes, they definitely should not have given up that T1 because this lets UG take Roshan out. And yeah, they have somewhat decent heroes scouted out with Plague Ward, with the hook shot, and with the Forge Spirits. But at the same time, that's not something that you want to worry about when you're ahead.
Yep. And Elder Titan, he'll be in the wrong place at the wrong time. He just moves casually into the jungle. No vision on the dire side in terms of their own jungle. And THD capitalize as they press forward and grab themselves a free kill following that tower exchange. So that does tilt things in their favor ever so slightly. All the while on the bottom, this Tier 1 taking heavy pressure from Rubik as well as a siege creep and some of his buddies. They will defend.
He just took out this like triple stack from THD. So THD's like, they're doing an okay job of mech control right now, and this is exactly what Union Gaming needs. It's like other heroes besides Storm creating space and dying.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rubik died, but he drew 5 heroes down bottom. He almost got the tower by himself, which is pretty good for himself. But unfortunately, THD is going to retaliate with a T2 push of their own, and there's really not that much that UG can do about it. They don't have the BKB up on Shadow Fiend yet. He does have it in 40 gold, but by the time he buys it on Chicken and sends it to him, it's not going to be ready for the T2 fight.
And they've got their cooldowns available as Luna, now level 11. Level 2 Eclipse online, ready to rock and roll. There is a glyph up for Union Gaming. If they opt to make a defense here, they'll have the luxury of the glyph, though I think they need to be a little bit careful in this coming engage. Acid Spray.
Oh, he does have the BKB, but he doesn't have a TP, so they have to wait for Shadow Fiend. They cannot fight without Shadow Fiend BKB. If they do, it's going to be a lost fight. So.
Yeah. And he is nowhere nearby. The glyph comes out, and the tower falls. Invoker walks away, 1 tower richer. And that's it. THD not eager to force a fight. They'll be happy to take the tower and back off. And here's their big item pickup on Gu. The Blink Dagger on the Lion, the bane to the existence of the Storm Spirit.
They do not have enough counter initiation on UG either. Echo Stomp is their best counter initiation. Telekinesis is second best, and third is Unstable Concoction because it takes a while to
Well, he doesn't even have a point in Echo Stomp, so you can scratch that from the
wow, that is not good. So if they get a Blink Hex initiate on anyone, they're just straight up dead because they don't have enough counter initiate.
Yep.
So it's going to be very, very difficult for UG to win upcoming skirmishes. And once Invoker gets a Scythe of Ice too, that's another hex that they have to worry about. It's just going to be a disaster.
And looking at other item pickups, Medallion is up on Alchemist. He's still yet to hit level 6, but he has a Medallion nonetheless. Wow, Alchemist only level 5. Looking at the level chart, he is way down in the trench tier of levels right now. That is just unfortunate for him.
The Bronze League of levels.
I mean, he is just so under-leveled here.
Wow. They just used 600 mana on Storm and in an Unstable Concoction on an Illusion. So now they're not in like prime fighting position. Yeah, and the Orchid.
Wow. So Storm does have an Orchid up, though. That is good news for UG. It could be kind of too little too late at this point.
Benjes is like standing out there by himself. If he gets Blink Hex right now, he is a goner.
Yeah, he's feeling bold. I don't know that they've seen the Blink on Lion yet either, so that is something to consider.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's revealed himself.
They're just much better about positioning though. Now that Elder Titan scouts him out, but
yeah, Rubik is.
He has a 4-step. How did he get a 4-step? He's 0 and 4.
Oh, there's the initiation. Benjaz hops forward, but he's got no escape mechanism. There's the counter initiate. He does actually survive. Compliments of the mech. Shadow Fiend comes in. Requiem of Souls. They finish off the Invoker as well as the Clockwork. Now the Lion falls. Oh my gosh, a 3-for-0 the way of UG. I thought THD would be able to
Luna
finish
should
off
have been
the
up there.
Storm, but
Luna should have been up there closer. She should be out in front because they don't have a really good way to initiate. It's not like they're going to kill somebody in a Storm Spirit jump.
what did all that damage to Luna? Was that the Requiem of Souls?
I'm not sure. She didn't pop her BKB though. She
Yeah.
should be in there. Like as soon as Lion jumps in, she just BKBs, pops a clips, and they should win the team fight from there.
Right.
But now with that lost team fight, Yuji's right back in the game, and the gold lead wasn't that big to begin with. It's only at 5,000, and then with this Roshan being taken down, it's going to be taken down to like 2,000. So now the Midas is going to be paying off for them because THD wasn't able to accomplish that much in like the 10-minute phase that he was just farming. They got a T1 tower on top, a T2 tower on bottom, I believe, and that's it. And no Hex completed yet on Invoker. And they had the Blink Dagger on Lion, but it did not lead to a win on that fight. And now they'll take a second tower. And again, it's a solo Rubik. This solo Rubik just took a tower by himself.
I don't know why they didn't deny it. That tower was sitting at 30 hit points for the last 4 or 5 minutes. That's just free gold going the way of UG right there.
I still have no idea how Rubik farmed his 4-step, though. Like, Lion, his team was ahead, and he has a Blink Dagger, and he's 4-1. And Rubik, 1-4. He was 0-4 at that point, had a 4-step. Now he has 2,000 gold.
Yeah.
How's he got all this gold? What in the
Rubik.
world? Gold hacks,
He
man.
must be an investment banker. I don't know what he's doing.
I have no idea.
Playing the stocks? Playing the ponies?
He's 800 gold richer than the Lion.
Yeah. Wow. Well, he's taking it from Alchemist because he is still pretty broke. That last team fight actually made a world of difference for Jericho. He's at least now level 7. He's got Chemical Rage, and that is a much-needed ability to add to his repertoire. Looks like Venomancer has taken a cue from the Mechanism Gods, and he's got the 2 core pieces about halfway to the recipe. So that will really help THD out quite a bit in this next team fight. Invoker on his way to the secret shop. I think he is about to pick up a sheep stick, Merlini.
He needs, I think, a blink over 4, so he can. I can understand why he got 4-step because it's a better defensive item, but at the same time, they need offense, not defensive items right now. They need to be able to kill Storm, kill Shadow Fiend before they can get any of the things off. And the 4-step sheep is just sometimes not as clean as an initiate, especially when you're ganking during the daytime. So it's going to be extremely difficult once UG gets their BKBs, and they're well positioned to do so because they have the Aegis now. So with one team fight, game right back to even, 0 on the gold graph. I hear a zip, but
just hopping to the high ground. He did bottle up a regeneration rune and a huge experience advantage the way of UG now, about 4,000 in their favor. Storm very close to his BKB. He's got the Mithril Hammer and the Ogre Club, just waiting on that recipe. But that will be a time when, sort of like flipping the switch for Storm Spirit. Orchid BKB, he's got that survivability, he's got the mana regen, and he'll start zipping all over the place.
Yeah, one big factor for that last team fight was that UG, the team that was behind by 5,000 gold, had a mech where THD didn't. THD simply needed a mech for that fight. They would have kept Invoker alive, he would have been able to get the spells off, Lion would have lived too, Luna would have been in fighting shape so she could BKB and Eclipse, and just none of that happened simply because of foregoing one item choice. And it's either on the Venomancer or the Clockwork, though. One of those two should have gotten it, and they're still working on it almost 30 minutes into the game, even when they had quadruple the kills of Union Gaming.
And I think you're exactly right about that Blade Mail. I mean, Clockwork hopped into that big team fight that shifted the momentum here, and it just didn't do much. He just got dropped. Yeah, he returned a bit of damage, but Mechanism was able to pretty much recover everything that was lost.
Radiant's top
So,
tower.
an
Yeah,
odd
he didn't have
first
enough.
choice.
He didn't have enough foresight to see how the game was going to progress. As soon as you see the pickup by Shadow Fiend to get a Midas, you know that they're going to play passively, which means you need to go more offensive items, not defensive items. And Blade Mail is not very bad offensively rather when they get BKBs.
Right.
So.
Well, we will see a skirmish start to unfold here in the top lane for the THD Tier 2 tower. UG are slow sieging, and it is a 5v4. Luna is not with them. She is just farming in the bottom lane, now pressing up towards the UG Tier 3. She does have a TP in the inventory, ready to rock and roll, and about 2.3k sitting in the bank. So she'll be able to hop to the fight, assuming that tower doesn't just get bursted down. THD with a glyph available. Sort of an odd stalemate here about this Tier 2 tower.
Yeah, it's a little odd. They're trying to push into Venom Wars, and I mean, they would just want a team fight, but they're still like not ahead. Generally, you want to push when you have like a pretty big advantage, and all they have is the Orchid on the Storm. If you had a BKB, I'd say it's a go for sure, but as it stands right now, they're not getting that much out of it. They have the better late game as it stands because Shadow Fiend went for a greedy build and it paid off for him, so there's no reason for them to push right now. They have better gank too, because Storm Spirit is just a much better ganker with his Orchid than let's say the Invoker is, even with the Sheep.
That's a pretty big loss right there. All 5 of the dire side grouped up trying to push this tower. They don't secure the tower kill, and that whole time Luna was just free farming. Look at the gold graph, or the experience graph rather. all of a sudden there's a dip way back in favor of THD, and some of that because of the stalemate around that tower. Not the best choice from our Dire team. Invisibility Rune up on the Storm Spirit. He's moving about the Radiant jungle, perhaps looking to catch someone. Still a little ways off that BKB recipe, as he hasn't been farming.
They need armor on THD too. They need Basilius firstly, secondly a Vlad's, and potentially an AC too. I see a lot of Invokers go AC because UG has a ton of minus armor right now, and they don't have the items to cope with it. Luna doesn't have a butterfly yet, so her armor is like somewhat weak. So with Shadow Fiend with -6, we have -6 from Acid Spray too. Elder Titan reduces it to 0, so they're going to be sitting like probably most of the heroes probably like -8, -9 area.
Yeah.
And that they're just going to die to a few right clicks.
Yeah, I was going to say perhaps the Blade Mail choice was part of Clockwork wanting to get more initial armor, but Mech also solves that problem. So
Mech helps your team too. They need they need items that help the Invoker, because Invoker just got crushed last fight. He just got initiated on by the Storm, and they didn't have a solution.
Yeah. So any other big items up on the Dire side? No, not quite yet. BKB very close to Storm now, as they are grouping up to pressure this bottom tier 2 tower. It looks like THD will group up and make a hold.
Their age is about to expire. They can't force the issue here.
And Invoker is up top, very close to level 16 as well. Shadow Fiend, actually no, pardon me, Rubik up here. And Rubik with an ultimate orb. Kind of curious what he's going to grab. Is this Rubik going to try and pull up for a sheep stick? Is that... Seems like
probably
a bold move, but he's been able to find farms.
If they're going to win the game, it's going to go late. So you might as well aim big for that. And he's just been finding farm like out of nowhere. So.
Oh no, Storm Spirit's going to walk right into the oh god.
And his Aegis was out too. So
yeah, that was the worst time for him to move up to the high ground. And look at the Dire wards right now. No vision on the map whatsoever. That was a completely blind. He just walked up. Oh hey guys. Hex to the face, and, well, didn't go too well for him. The only ward they have down is actually blocking the Radiant Ancients, which is a good call. I mean, blocking the Ancients is great, as Luna would like to utilize those, but a big difference in ward coverage. Look at THD. They've got one down here, one down over here. They saw that Storm Spirit coming from... I mean, they've got ward coverage all over the place.
Yeah, THD is playing with much more finesse than UG. UG is like brute force farming and dying, but they're still getting ahead on gold. And THD is trying to outsmart them with better ganks and better maneuvering around the map and better ward coverage. But at the same time, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to power through UG's fairly potent late game lineup.
Yeah, a shame that UG had no way to really capitalize on the Aegis. I mean, letting it expire like that is really just unfortunate.
It's the main reason why they needed it was to dissuade THD from fighting them, and instead they actually brought the fight to THD, which is not what they should have done. They have the passive lineup. They were out farming from 10 to 25. Why not continue from 25 to 30? And instead they try to force the issue when they didn't need to.
And we will see an initiation here. Again, that lack of ward coverage really working against UG. Alchemist will be the first target. There's the BKB Eclipse from Luna in this fight, looking good for THD. Though, UG now starting to turn it around as Requiem of Souls comes out. And Luna finishes off the Elder Titan. A 2 for 3. And it might not be over yet, as Benjaz will zip back to the high ground. So, THD do come out ahead, but just barely. The Invoker, once again, gets melted in the fray.
Very nice hex on the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend went from 100 to like 5 to 10% before he could pop his BKB off. And if they don't get supports from with like meching, with defensive force staffs, and Shadow Fiend just dies like that every time, they're going to lose team fights. And Luna's going to continue to get bigger because she has a hex backup, whereas UG, they don't have any sort of good counter initiate to the mass hexes.
Yeah. Shadow Fiend is the level leader by a huge margin. He's level 19. Next highest is Invoker at 16. And Luna not far behind that, sitting pretty at 15. Pretty close to grabbing that level 3 Eclipse, but yeah, this Shadow Fiend, he's really quite farmed right now. He's got himself a Manta style, but unfortunately, he's the target. I mean, he's that one that if they can pick off the Shadow Fiend, keep him crowd controlled, and prevent those right clicks from coming out, you know, he's just an easy target.
This is an HP build game. He doesn't need damage. He needs utility and survivability. Like, pop your mantas early in the fight so that they don't know which one to hex, and they don't want to waste it on an illusion, obviously. You can also go a ton of HP like a Scotty build so that you can actually survive during it potentially. You can go Satanic so you can BKB Satanic your way back up. He needs those sort of utility items so that he can survive, or he needs to get Force Staffed out by Rubik and or Alchemist. Alchemist is actually going for a Force Staff too, so I think that's a very smart build out from him. They could go for an AC, but I think that's more for like Elder Titan if he wants to go for Shivas or an AC. They're about the same in terms of utility. Whether
he ended up going drums after mech.
Drums is fine. They needed the drums because they were close to that brink of just getting all their T2 swept and then just being cornered in the base.
Just chilling in the base, just hanging out.
That's the worst position. Everyone's been there. You know, you're in your T3. You can't leave your base because you're like, well, we're gonna get wrecked if we leave our base. You know that feeling.
Oh, I know that feeling.
I know that feeling too.
It's no fun.
So he went to drums so they could defend their T2s, and once you defend your T2s, you can repel them. You can farm your own jungle. If you can't farm your own jungle, you're gonna lose the game.
Right.
So I think it's a perfectly acceptable choice.
Okay. And still, Vision is hurting our dire side. They've got another ward down outside the Roche pit now since we last chatted about. You know, how come spectators can't draw with the control click when you're paused? That really grinds my gears.
I don't know either.
It's silly.
It is silly.
Volvo, please.
We need a term for chilling inside base besides turtling.
Chilling inside base, just
well, most people say turtling, I guess. But
turtling. Yeah. I think of turtling as more sort of an intentional, like if you have a team that has like a tinker or something, you're turtling up in your base. I think of it as like an intentional, our plan is to turtle up and then move into our jungle, not like, oh, we're forced in here like sardines. It's sort of a difference in intention, maybe.
I suppose so, but at the same time, it's still the same thing. You're chilling base trying to
you're just hanging out in the base, yeah. I guess that's true. Yeah, splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Be similar. So, I don't know. I think, like, multiple times now we've seen UG, like, first it was the Storm walking into the high ground, absolutely no vision, obliterated. And even that fight, it ended up okay in a 2-for-3 exchange, but it started off with Alchemist just getting just destroyed because there's like, hey, oh,
as I said, UG's not playing with finesse.
Yes,
they are just brute forcing, hoping their items will carry them.
Yeah.
Which isn't the worst way to play, I guess. But at the same time, they had like such a big advantage. They played a 10 and 20 minute phase like very, very well.
Right.
So you know they're decent enough to like outplay the other opponents, but they're just like choosing not to for some reason. They're just like, oh well, I'll just give you free kills. Hey, Alk will walk up without ultimate on and just straight up die. I mean, it's very strange. And I have seen the brute force trap done before. You like have so many farmers on your team.
Just a move into the dark jungle and
they can't kill everybody, right? If you're farming all 3 lanes, because THDs they're moving around as 5 the whole entire time. They don't have a specific split groups. If they had task groups, like okay, one guy with a hex, we have Lion and Luna here. We'll double ultimate somebody. We have Invoker plus everyone else here, and we'll kill somebody else too with hexes. And then you kill 2 people, so they can't actually outfarm you. Then you can actually be effective. But THD is just 5 manning. I actually say they're somewhat brute forcing too.
Yeah, they are. But I mean, I feel like they almost have a better team for brute force.
They definitely do.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say so. That makes more sense. I mean, they've got a Luna.
It's just different. It's like we're gonna brute force just towers, or we're just gonna brute force and split around and farm and just hope we farm faster than we die.
Yeah,
it's somewhat of a similar strat.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed.
But it's like whenever you hear people that are like, oh, space created, but at the same time, it is what's happening.
Yeah,
they're dying, but space is being created.
Yeah. All right. So
somebody has to die.
Somebody has.
I joke about that too. Like when you're really behind, you just like farm all 3 lanes. One person's gonna die, but the other 2 are gonna get farmed.
It's a fair point. I mean, it makes sense.
It's like I wouldn't say tactical feeding, but it's just like you need
tactical
information
space creating.
Tactical space creating. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does Shadow Fiend need here? You said he needs survivability. He has BKB.
It depends on whether or not they get the next Aegis. That's the big point right here. It's gonna respawn in the couple minutes time, 1.5 minutes time. So it depends on how this next team fight goes. He can either go an item to carry over the next team fight, which will pretty much be nothing.
Is this a butterfly kind of game for Shadow Fiend?
No. He's gonna die to hexes, and hexes gets owned to the butterfly. Like if he gets impaled fingered during the hex, he's gonna die if he doesn't have HP.
Okay.
So he needs HP, like either a pipe from his team, a Satanic on himself, a Scotty on himself, or Mass Force Staffs from his teammates. Those are the pretty much
Scotty.
Or really nice Manta usage.
Okay.
Like any of those 5 can carry him into the team fights, but if he gets hexed and blown up, they're going to lose the team fight because he's the majority of the dire team's farm right now.
Is this a game where Lincoln's could be an option, or is that just
Lincoln's is not bad. It's too easy to knock off with they have a 4-staff on Invoker, so it's instant cast. Invoker also has no cast animation, so you can just cold snap and hex. Or Lion can just blink. Does he have a 4-staff yet? he can blink like
Force
it's
staff?
it's really risky for him to do so
Blink
because
mana drain too.
yeah, but the mana drain has a cast time, and most players will be able to BKB. So if he blinks mana drains, he'll just BKB and just crush them. If that happens, they're gonna lose the fight. If Lion blinks in and he gets BKB'd on, they're gonna lose. So
I see. It'd be nice if one of the supports could grab a Linken's this game, but I don't see that
yes,
happening.
that would be
anytime
really
soon.
nice, but that's not gonna happen. He has to use his Manta way earlier though. He's like saving it for an appropriate time. I think he's like saving it, like, hey, you know, I can take Eclipse with it, or hey, I can do extra damage when I have some uptime. But he's not going to have uptime because they've been focusing on him. Notice they didn't hex the Alchemist at all last fight because they know he's just going to die. They're saving the hexes for the important heroes. So THD is doing well in that area.
Yeah. And following the resume, Luna did manage to pick up her Manta straight away. So a very similar build to what Shadow Fiend is going for, except Luna already has the lifesteal with that Helm of Dom. So she's in good shape. And actually, Luna has taken over the #1 spot in net worth. Invoker has surpassed the Shadow Fiend, not by much, just a handful of gold there. But the
Now
tables are starting to
Clockwork has
turn.
good items. Now he has Force and Power Treads and Blade Mail. I think he should have gone Treads and Force before Blade Mail and switch it up, but I think now it's fine because the minus armor is more necessary late game when they'll actually be right-clicking you, and then he needs to force that for utility. He can potentially like bait out a BKB if he hookshot the Shadow Fiend, and then if they fight without Shadow Fiend BKB, they're going to lose the fight too. So I think this is a much better build choice now, but again, it's like they took a lot of unnecessary damage in the mid game because of his Blade Mail first.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, the Blade Mail just didn't do anything. There was not a point in this game where I said, oh, the Blade Mail, good thing he had that. It was, you know, maybe if he had a Force Staff, he could have hopped out and survived, maybe better initiation.
Oh, Rubik's going for Linken's.
Yeah. Oh, look at you.
So that's good. Yeah, I mean,
be
a hex would be nice too. I guess they do need to play more defensive though.
Yeah. And he's actually really close to it.
How did he get so many items though? I'm just so confused.
Oh, there's the hop forward. They will grab the Clockwork. Orchid used. BKB actually popped by the Storm Spirit as Invoker comes in to join the fray. He will go straight for the Rubik. Force Staff back. Rubik survives. The mech popped on Invoker. No, Rubik does not survive. Scratch that. There's the Hex. Now Storm Spirit in big trouble as the rest of THD join the party. It ends up being 2 for 1.
Storm Spirit attempts to brute force again. He's just like, hey, I'm going to kill him before my BKB expires. He's like, oh, no, whatever. I'm just going to go for it anyways. Gets Hex and dies instantly. Like, he knows it. The Invoker's had a Hex for like at least 10 minutes now.
Yeah, I mean, he's had enough time to pick up Yules after he got the Hex. So
see, now they're like, oh, space created. We had 2 heroes down on the left side, but we're just going to go right in Roshan. And that's what... If they were doing this while they were dying, then it would have already been down by now. And now the Sunstrike's coming in. It's going to be at half HP, but it's a 3-on-4 fight. They have a Blink Lion. If he doesn't BKB early, this could potentially be very disastrous. This could be a game changer.
They have to do this quick, though. Roche falling very quickly. Mech has already been used. They can contest, and they won't. Roshan will fall to the Dire. Aegis goes in the inventory of the Shadow Fiend. Now they're going to fight. Jericho gets caught by the Invoker. Shadow Fiend pops the BKB, Requiem of Souls. BKB before the Aegis is always a bit of a risky maneuver. He will secure the kill onto the Venomancer. They want to finish him off, and they will get it. Invoker is low, but he's going to hang around a bit longer. There's an Ice Wall coming out. They want this Shadow Fiend. They know the BKB is down. There's the Eclipse straight away. Now Clockwork's back in the fray. Rubik falls. Down goes the Shadow Fiend, but he takes out Lion with him. Oh, boy. And Jericho not out of the clear quite yet. Back comes the Storm Spirit. He's got a BKB on. He picks up a kill on the Luna, grabs some extra gold for the unstoppable streak. That was a very chaotic exchange, but I don't even know who came out ahead. I guess THD did sort of.
It's even.
Yeah, it's even. They burned the Aegis, but Roche did go the way of UG. So
Shadow Fiend and Luna both died.
Yeah.
So it's about even. That could have gone so much better for THD. They knew the rate at which the Roshan was dropping because they had the Sunstrike in there, and there were only 3 strong. I think Lion should have just manned up and just went in there, and he could at least hit a 2-man impale.
Yeah.
And probably get a Hex off and a Finger before he dies, and then that would have been enough for them to win the team fight right there.
He actually didn't even use Finger in that fight. It's still off cooldown.
Yeah, he could have won it. I don't know why he didn't go in. I guess he was scared because he didn't have any vision, and potentially Shadow Fiend could have pre-BKB'd, but if he pre-BKBs, then they can just kill him with a 3-on-3 because Storm wasn't available there.
Right.
But yeah, I guess it's risky. It could have been a lot better. I guess it could have been a lot worse too.
Yeah. Well, the big breadwinner from that fight was the Invoker. He's now #1 on the net worth chart by a huge margin. He did not die. He's at about 17k, and Shadow Fiend will dip down to about 14k. Oh, all of a sudden, he hopped. Did he just sell an item, then buy? That was weird.
Oh, he's going for AC.
Yeah, Ben Jazz in big trouble, though. And a hook shot to finish him off. All right, just for good measure. Yeah, Shadow, he was at like 14K on net worth, and then all of a sudden he hopped back up to 16K. So I'm not sure what caused that on the graph.
Not dying.
Yeah. So Angel in trouble. He will survive for now, and Rubik will grab that Lincoln Sphere that we were talking about. So Rubik continuing to impress with his level of farm.
Yeah, he should be playing carry. He should be playing Storm Spirit.
Well, he's making up for that difference in the Alchemist. Now UG have actually pulled ahead in their support net worth. Most of that is because of the Rubik.
It's still going to be pretty difficult for THD to push in a base, though. Like, they have some spells that are good for sieging, like Force Spirit and Luna with Manta and Venomancer with Plague Wards, but at the same time, like, pushing into Storm Spirit with BKB, a Shadow Fiend with a BKB, and Echo Stomp, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to break that, unless a lot of them are dead, so.
Oh, THD looking for initiation. Goo pops forward, and he will catch one with the Hex. It is the Elder Titan. Concoction is channeling, catches 4 with the stun. What a concoction. They do finish off the Rubik, also grab a kill on the Alchemist. Now Clockwork in some trouble. Shadow Fiend does pop that BKB as well as the Manta.
Why are they fighting without Storm? If Storm Spirit were there, they would have crushed. But now he's going to go in without Hexes up.
And Storm Spirit pops in. I keep wanting to call him Shadow Fiend for some reason. But he does secure the kill on the Manaless Lion. His BKB is now off. Does need to be a little careful.
Yeah, the Hex is up again on Invoker. Invoker just walks right into Shadow Fiend.
Oh, Invoker. He does get the Yules off. That buys him some time. But now the Clockwork in some trouble. In comes the Eclipse from Luna. There are some units nearby. Absorbs a few of the beams, but they secure the kill on Storm. Both sides making some questionable plays in that fight and then the follow-up. But THD do come out the victors. They spill only their Lion and Invoker in exchange for at least 3 heroes on UG. They got, yeah, everyone except Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, that was just a very questionable decision by UG. They shouldn't have fought without Storm Spirit firstly, because Storm Spirit got picked off. And they could have just defended at T3, which is a much better place to defend. And then, like, yeah, it was just very strange. Invoker went in, just like walked in and take a lot of last hits.
Concoction to start it off. Hookshot forward. It will cost the. Oh wow, that's a stolen Eclipse on the Rubik. So that will make that an easy cleanup. Both Clockwork and Luna fall. Venomancer tries to port out, and he makes it. The Concoction will follow him all the way across the map, back to the well. Where'd it go? Oh, missed it. So he does make it out though. Close call.
Getting greedy.
Luna
has to survive.
Oh, there it is.
The name of the game is not dying. Like whoever doesn't die will get really far ahead. First it was Invoker, or sorry, first it was Luna, and then it was Invoker. Now it's Shadow Fiend, and they're taking turns topping this net worth chart. Now it's Invoker, or sorry, Shadow Fiend by a decently large margin. AC is not a bad choice, but I think what's killing him is the magic damage, not the physical damage. So I think AC could have been gotten by another hero, and he could have gotten like Satanic, which gives you armor and HP.
Right.
But it's not bad, especially if he can pop his BKB off before the team fight actually starts happening and he doesn't get instant hex. But now his BKB's down to 5 seconds, so I'm still a little bit worried for Citadel.
Yeah, exactly. That was the beginning of that last fight. It seems Shadow Fiend popped that BKB just a little too early, and at this point, you really want to save those valuable duration decreases at this point once it starts to get low. I mean, once you hit the floor, it doesn't really matter quite as much, but yeah.
Luna needs a butterfly, too. She has been given a lot of space, but I guess she's closing in on it, about 1,000 more gold.
So it appears that Invoker is having some connection issues, which is very unfortunate, and perhaps some of the awkward positioning in that fight was a result of lag. It's always hard to say, but
maybe.
Obviously, he's having some connection issues here.
He walked into Shadow Fiend, he sheeped somebody else, and then he was at like 100 HP when he
did Ghost Walk, I think. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here. Poor guy. It was an awkward play, and then he disconnected.
He's trying to show UG how to brute force with finesse.
Yeah, how to brute force with finesse. He did get a nice Yules off, though, and bought himself some time, but it was an awkward way to engage that, that's for sure.
Very awkward indeed.
Very awkward. So hopefully he can reconnect. This is like the longest game ever between the disconnects, and then we had a remake, and that lobby took a while to get up. I mean, this VOD is going on a good 90 minutes or so, and this game is still...
This game's really close, though, still. Yep. Like, it comes down to whether UG can stop feeding and just, like, stop taking these terrible, terrible fights. Like, Storm just getting caught off multiple times, and them fighting without Storm. Like, it's one thing for Storm to get caught off. Yeah, that's going to happen because he needs to farm. But at the same time, his team doesn't have to fight. Like, they actively chose to defend the T2 with Storm down. So that was a bad decision from them. So, like, their macro decisions are just very poor, but their farming and their execution in team fights is usually pretty decent. In the meantime, we have THD who's moving around as 5, so their farming is not as good, and their execution execution in teamfights is also pretty good, barring sometimes. Like most of the time, they get a very good Hex initiate, whether it's from Lion or from Invoker. So
Right.
it's still very close.
Anyone's game for the taking. And the golden experience graphs kind of reflect that. It's about a 3,000 gold lead for THD, which really isn't too significant here at the 38-minute mark. And the experience graph just about zeroed out. So it is definitely anyone's game for the taking. It seems initiation is key. Who catches who has been kind of a...
Well, now they have mass force staffs and Lincolns too to protect. So I think that UG supports. Yeah, they mess up their 2 smoke inks early game, and they didn't get any levels in any
they
farm.
have 2 force staffs. I don't know if I'd call that
Yeah,
mass. Is that mass force staff?
Mass
enough.
Double force staffs.
Double force staff is enough.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the supports were playing like they were just not doing well in the beginning. They weren't pulling. They weren't zoning out clockwork. They weren't killing. They were stacking, but they weren't ganking, and they wasted 2 smokes. So that's like about as bad as it gets for the early.
Yeah.
Okay, but this mid to late, they're playing very well. They've got a lot of farm. Rubik has a Lincolns and a Force out of nowhere. They've stopped the dying. Rubik had like 4 deaths in like 10 minutes in. Now he's only died 3 times in the last 30. Alchemist 0 and 3 too, so they stopped dying, and they managed to pick up some good items too. So
yeah,
and their like positioning in team fights is pretty good. Like it was mostly like the Rubik just manning up and creating space on bottom by himself though. I really think that had a really big impact on the game.
Yeah, it did. I mean, he got that solo tower kill, and that definitely helped out not only for creating space and getting the tower.
Well, he died once too, and he like saved a life from Storm and Shadow Fiend, which was the important heroes at the time.
Yeah, that's very true. So 25-15. Here's we're approaching the 40-minute mark. This is our second best of 1 for the day here at the American qualifier preliminary qualifiers for Starladder Season 9. Thank you for joining us, not on Beyond the Summit today, but this is only game 2. We've got 2 more best of 1s coming up after this. Up in the top lane, oh, speak of the devil, Rubik maybe in a little bit of trouble. That Lincoln Sphere coming in handy, and there is some support nearby. Echo Stomp will buy Rubik the time he needs to make the great escape.
They could have killed him with
and Voker actually taking a lot of return damage.
They could have killed him with Earth Splitter.
Earth Splitter, yeah. Wow.
That would have been ballsy, though.
Yes, that would have been.
I mean, it's not like Earth Splitter is like the most team fight changing ultimate, anyways. Like it's so difficult to hit.
It's true. It is. That's true. Although support was nearby, so it certainly would have been a risky play. Another force staff has now been picked up. It is on the side of THD in the inventory of Lion, so that is now 5 force staffs on the map. 3 actually on the side of THD. So it is a force staff game.
We call them force staves.
Force staves? What did I say? Force staffs?
Yeah. No, I mean I'm just saying.
Oh,
I always call them force staffs too, but I guess technically it would be force staves.
Staves, yes. I guess so.
It sounds so awkward.
English. Multiple force staves. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'll say draw or draw, wherever you want. Staves, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Oh, there's the initiation onto Clockwork as the Storm Spirit hops forward. Orchid already, but THD X comes in with the reset. And Clockwork able to get a hook shot off before he falls. In comes the mech. This Clockwork is still alive. Finally he falls, but out comes the Poison Nova. Rubik does take a spill. They'll be able to turn it around on Jericho. There's the Hex. Oink, 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 little piggy. That's going to be a delicious roast for dinner. A 1 for 2. That Clockwork, man.
Oh, he's going for the ultimate. He's going for the long range. Oh no. I thought he was.
You got me so excited for a moment.
Oh, I was excited too. He could have killed Invoker, and without natural order.
Probably could have killed the Lion, but
they took a fight without Shadow Fiend though. Shadow Fiend was pushing top, and they actively chose to dive a T2 without Shadow Fiend. Like their macro decisions are just not that great, but their actual fighting is really good. So.
Right. Their kind of individual mechanics great, but the team fight presence just they needed the presence of the Dark Lord there.
I know they definitely did. They're playing like not like a team.
Yeah, not like a team. There you go. So big items have been picked up though. The Assault Kuros in the inventory of Shadow Fiend, but now the Butterfly is out for Luna, and of course they have no way to deal with that. No MKBs. No Sheepsticks either, so that evasion will really come in handy. Speaking of Lincolns, though, we've got one up on Storm Spirit. That's a double Lincolns for Team UG.
Double Lincolns, and they have Lucent Beam, they have Cold Snap, they have Yules, they have Force Staff, they have a lot of spells that can take it off that aren't very costly for THD. So I don't actually know what item he could have gotten that could have been better. I think actually a Hex would have been better.
Oh yeah.
So they can actually kill Invoker. Because as of right now, he can just Yules after the initial initiate and
or
then
the
just
Luna.
Hex him after.
I mean, I think they need something to cut through that 35% evasion. Or this, I mean, that's really going to up the effective HP of Luna in this next fight, no?
It definitely is, but they aren't focusing Luna is the thing. They're just like leaving her alive so that
Oh, Storm Spirit initiating onto Goo. The support is nearby. Hookshot in. Lion might survive to tell the tale. 38 hit points. Now
Oh,
Storm
this is a
Spirit's out of
big
mana.
stomp!
Oh, the Requiem of Souls. They finish off the Venomancer. Now they're going to finish off the Invoker as well. The Clockwork UG. A 3-for-0. Make it a 5 as they finish off the Lion. Ultra kill coming out for Shadow Fiend. They want to pursue the Luna. Echo Stomp. Not going to be a reality here. He will use the Echo Stomp, but does not connect.
That was a huge stomp by Elder Titan there. Invoker forced into the Requiem, too. Like,
oh, my.
yeah.
And with that, a right click on to the MKB. So scratch everything I just said about dealing with that Butterfly. They've got the tools, and all
And
of a
now
sudden,
they'll have map control for next Roshan too after they take on this Rex too. So this is a disaster. Invoker actually has buyback and Luna still up, so technically they can defend once the supports are up. Clockwork does not have buyback money though, so they're gonna have to wait at least 15 seconds if they want full 5.
Yeah, this is rough. Glyph is available. Invoker will buy back straight away. Glyph
Too
pop.
much damage.
Yeah, this is going to be hard to defend. Don't know that they'll be able to do it, but now that the Glyph is off, the tower continues to take damage. Tier 3 tower down. Naked Rax
Yep, that's a buyback though.
will not be pushed. Yeah, they force a buyback, still get the tower.
If THD lets the next Roshan go uncontested, they'll lose this game as it stands right now. So they have to contest it.
Yeah, this Shadow Fiend he's scary.
Yeah, it's if Storm jumps on Invoker and they kill him, they can just take down the Rax because THD cannot defend on 45 at this point, especially with Invoker gone. So that's all that UG needs to do. Just BKB on Storm, jump with the Invoker, kill him if you can. One force step is probably not enough to save him.
Clockwork just hookshot a creep.
I don't know. He has Scepter though. Oh no, he doesn't have.
He
Scepter.
doesn't have Scepter. It's not the longest cooldown, but with Roche around the corner, I would
Yeah,
be a little more hesitant just to
oh, there's a
throw
sheep.
that
Blink sheep on
ultimate
Angel.
around willy-nilly. Angel, he's in trouble. The double force stab. There's the BKB
This-
from Elder Titan.
See, this is why he needs a blink rather than a force. He's trying to gank during the daytime with a smoke and still unable to get the hex initiate. That would have been a very big kill because that's Roshan's already up.
Yeah.
Well,
Third Roche.
This is the cheese too. Cheese on Storm and Aegis on Shadow Fiend. Just say goodbye to your Rax.
Yeah, and now Yules is up on Rubik, so another reset utility. And another pause. This time on the side of UG. Second, please. You got it, buddy.
This is going really poorly for THD. Their window to shine has passed. Their window was like 10 to 30 minutes, and now on closing on a 45, the farm on the Shadow Fiend and the Storm is just getting way too much. And they're just much better with farm than an Invoker.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm
I think
scared.
UG obviously had the momentum here. Third Roche, I think you're exactly right, is going to be the deciding factor. Not only for who gets the cheese and the Aegis, but I don't think either team can afford to let Roche go uncontested. So even the fight just around the Roche pit is going to be very telling.
Yeah.
And looks like we will be resuming pretty quickly. This was a quick one. Velat put the hammer down. No more pauses, guys. The half smiley face at the end, just for good measure as well. I like Velat. He's a good admin. I like that he's a stickler about making teams use their real names and tags.
You should do that too.
Yeah, well,
Everybody
I
should do
try,
that.
but people respect Velat more than they respect me. For good reason. I mean, he's a badass. Come on.
Well, with that talk, no one's gonna.
With that,
respect.
well, with that talk, geez,
I
you're
know.
right, actually. You're right. I'm a badass, too.
These mother flippers should respect me too. That's what your mentality should be.
I just like it, man. It bothers me when I don't know who's who. You know, I want to give
Oh
credit
no,
where
it's
credit's
really
due.
annoying.
Yeah.
I think the worst offender is probably EE. EE is like the most ridiculous name.
At least he's high profile enough that you know it's EE, but
well,
yeah, you're
you can always
exactly
tell
right.
who has an anime Steam profile pic. So
Yeah.
that's pretty telltale. Well, this is uncontested Roach. This is
Well,
almost a nail in the coffin for THD.
yeah. I mean, at this point, Roche just falls so quickly. Aegis goes the way of Shadow Fiend. She's the way of Storm Spirit, as we would expect. And I like it. What do you think about players putting the Lincoln's buff on themselves? Is there any? Is it just to look cool? Is that the only? Whoa! That's a long-range zip. He'll connect onto the Lion. Lion will get orchided. Force staff back. He may survive to tell the tale. Storm considering eating that cheese for the kill, but he'll save it. Makes the smart choice.
I think it would have been worth it if they choose to kill him. They can just take 2 sets of Rex. They push mid, T2, but technically they didn't know that he didn't have buyback.
Right.
But as it stands, if he did use it, then he would have had buyback. And Angel looks like he will be solo defending versus the Invoker, but that means that UG can no longer push. So if THD can actually wait out the Aegis, which is going to be another 5 minutes, which is not the most I mean, it's not the longest time, it's not the shortest time either, but it is possible.
Yeah, it's possible, but I have a feeling UG will at least try and pressure this bottom lane of Rax before that happens. It's exposed.
Yeah.
I see no reason why they would want to delay another 5 minutes.
It's because Invoker's still top. He didn't TP away after Elder Titan TP'd up. And the thing is that bottom lane is now pushed further than mid lane was, and Shadow Fiend also has BOTs. So technically he has 3 lives with the BOT buyback.
Yeah, that's scary. And he's got another 3,000 gold in the bank, so even following this fight, he's going to continue that farm. He's also level 25, still the highest level in the game, and his experience has just been impressive this entire match. He's been about 3 levels up on Invoker pretty consistently since Shadow Fiend hit about 16
I think
or so.
one of the reasons is because THD has not been able to stack at all this game. In the mid game, UG had a ward over here, and Luna had a HOD, but she hasn't been able to use it to actually accrue any more gold.
Yep. So no glyph available for THD. Honestly, Union Gaming could just press forward and focus down the racks if they were so inclined, but they will go for heroes. Storm Spirit hops forward, forces out the Invoker, looking to finish him off. He dives into the well, forced to eat the cheese. Requiem of Souls doing a good bit of damage as well. Venomancer very low on health. He slithers back to the well. Clockwork gets cleaned up. A buyback from Luna, a buyback from Clockwork, but doesn't matter at this point. I say nay.
Yeah, they know exactly what needed to be done that fight. You jump Invoker, you win the game.
Yep.
Because he doesn't have buyback, so it's pretty costly. Now Luna trying to fight without BKB. It's
Will does use the Eclipse, does a fair bit of damage in return. Rubik steals the Eclipse and gives her a taste of her own medicine, and there is not going to be a spoonful of sugar to go down with that one. It will be another 4-for-0 exchange. Bottom racks fall. There is still a tier 2 tower up in the mid lane, so they won't be able to just grab the mid racks, but they could rotate up top, could just go for the tier 4s. I think they have sealed the deal, though. They did burn the Aegis as well as the cheese.
This is a perfect example of how UG is able to exploit the weakness of THD as they see the game progress. Like, they lost the lanes pretty badly, and THD just moved around as 5, and team fought the whole time and wasn't able to split up efficiently and farm and play greedy and use their HOD, and UG just took complete advantage of that. Just going on suicide runs with Rubik, just splitting up on farming, going for a 12-minute Midas on Shadow Fiend even though he doesn't have any BKB and they weren't ahead, and just doing all these things to ensure their victory, and sneaking in Roshan because they know that THD is very slow and clunky and immobile.
Clunky.
Clunky.
They sure are.
Their movement was very clunky.
It's a perfect word for it. They executed well, and it was a rocky game for UG. They came out the victor, so you see THD's Drafter X apologizing for the lag issues. Good manners across the board. So a really intense game for Game 2.
Yeah, very intense.
No complaints here. So that game was long. I'm sure the next lobby will go up. Any final closing words, Merlini?
I think the winner of our first match would crush either of these two teams, I think.
Okay, yeah, I think I
think
agree with
that the weakness of UG was they didn't play well as a team, and they went on like Storm just like died a bunch of times, and their team fought without him. And then their laning phase was also weak. And then the weakness of the first team was just they were too team fight oriented and wasn't able to complete objectives without 5. So like if either teams watch this replay, they'll know how to like just
deal with these teams
very easily. It's very evident from one game.
Yeah. Fair enough. So we are going to have we have 2 more best of ones coming up today, and our next one, as I pull up the schedule here, will be Osiris versus PSST.
This one's going to be a good game.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Good game coming up. So don't go anywhere, guys. Coverage resumes after this break.